Hello everyone, thank you for joining on my live video today. Sorry I was a couple minutes late. Kind of funny story about technology. I tried to use a new app that everybody's like totally raving about that's in beta right now called Be Live TV. But I don't know if you guys know this about me. Everybody thinks I'm tech savvy, but in reality I'm really not. And I didn't even realize that you have to do it on your computer, and I totally had my phone set up and everything ready to go. So sorry for the delay, but I am live now and I'm ready to talk a little bit more about the 0 to 100 program. I know the last time I went live, I said I was launching it, and I kind of described what it was going to be about. And basically I'm teaching people my method on how to build a great following and a great brand to throw good events like small businesses can do, like corporations do for small businesses, right? Unfortunately, I had to push back the 0 to 100 program workshop that was scheduled for last month. I wasn't quite reaching the people that I really wanted to reach to make a difference with that program. So I decided to kind of go back to the drawing board. I talked to the people who are involved. I have some great and awesome guest speakers who are getting involved with the program itself. And we just kind of, sat back and thought about, hey, how can we make this truly beneficial to the demographic that we're trying to reach, which is pretty much small business owners, creatives, entrepreneurs, startups who really can get something lucrative out of going face to face and touching people in a live way, right? So we decided to go ahead and push it back a little bit, and we're gonna add more value. I mean, it doesn't get better than that, right? So in the next coming weeks, I'm going to be going live with all of my guest speakers once a week, every Thursday from here until June 17th, which is when the new workshop date is. And we're going to be talking about all the different modules of the 0 to 100 program. So the program itself has 3 different modules. Today, I'm actually talking about the introduction. So it'll be a really brief little video, but I kind of added on the introduction to the program at the last minute, because I realized how important it really was and how much I was kind of missing that little teeny piece that kind of went and kind of tied everything together and got things really started for anybody who's joining into the 0 to 100 program, so that they can understand why we structured it the way that we did, right? So from here until June 17th, we're going to be having a lot of different guest speakers and people coming. For instance, this Thursday, we're going to have Kristen Tyler. She's the owner of Anchor and Odyssey. She does graphic design and branding photography, and she creates masterpieces, masterpiece visual content for brands and for companies and for creative individuals. And I cannot wait to have her on board this Thursday. We're actually going to be going live from one of my events, my happy hour event this Thursday, because she's a wonderful female entrepreneur, and that happy hour is all about female entrepreneurs. And we're going to be talking and digging deep into what is a brand recipe. Now, if you've downloaded the 0 to 100 guide, you know what I'm talking about when I say the brand recipe, because I totally break it down in that guide. It's something I live by. I launch brands in different companies, and I by the book, kind of have to slap around my clients a little bit and tell them, stick to the brand recipe. It's like literally your bread and butter for whatever it is that you're trying to develop. And I truly believe that if you can create a strong brand recipe for whatever it is that you're trying to put out into the world, that it will be so consistent, and people will be so much more ready to buy into whatever it is that you're selling, or whatever it is that you're trying to teach or portray to other people. So me and Kristen Tyler, we're going to be talking all about that. We're going to be doing a couple of giveaways, some freebies this Thursday. I believe we're going to be going live around 3 o'clock, but I sent out a little reminder, and maybe I can get Be Live TV to cooperate with me on that day instead of having the technical difficulties that I did today. But I'm super excited, and I know you guys will love her. If you have Facebook, well, first you have Facebook because you're here now, go ahead and look up Anchor and Odyssey so you can get a little look at what it is that she does, and you can understand why I'm, tooting her horn right now. So, like I said, today I wanted to go live and just let you guys know about all the awesome content that we're going to be putting out there for the 0 to 100 program coming soon. But most importantly, I want to talk about why I added almost a 4th module to the 0 to 100 program. Used to be 3 modules, really just based on the actual process and method that I go ahead and practice. But as I was writing the 0 to 100 guide for the first time, I realized that I missed a huge component that was so vital to me, even getting to just point A of where I figured I wanted to be an entrepreneur, and I finally, took that calling, which was changing my mindset. So I was literally done with the entire guide, and I, was getting some feedback from people, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's missing something. And I went back and I wrote the introduction, which I called Mindset Over Everything. And I truly just feel like it's the glue that holds the whole entire program together. By the way, if you haven't downloaded the guide, it will only be free until Thursday, once we put out the new piece of free content, which me and Kristen are going to be working together, which is the brand recipe. So after I go live today, I'll go ahead and put that in the comments. Please sign up, because there's also a little other tidbit I'll be giving away at the end of this video. So, mindset. Oh my goodness. There's so much that I could say about having the right mindset for anything that you're getting ready to do in the entrepreneurial world. I know, first of all, let me say I'm not a mindset expert by any means. I just know what it took for me to get into the right place, to do what I had to do and to put my first foot out there in the world, right? Not only that, but it's something that I still struggle with, and it's also something that I feel like every entrepreneur that I talk to struggles with at some point in their career. If it's that, maybe they're hitting a block in a growth development kind of situation, which I see a lot of seasoned entrepreneurs kind of deal with. They're like, oh, I have this great program, I have this great project or business or startup that I've created, but maybe their mindset gets a little off course because they don't know how to expand it or how to grow it. But a lot of times I see people struggle with the mindset when they're trying to take that first step, most importantly. Why this is a hot button issue is because they say that this is now the time of entrepreneurship, 2017, or I would even say probably the last 10 years or so. Historically, most people are told to go to school, get a job, get an education, work your way up in a company, which is a really, really great path to take, and definitely a path that sometimes I wonder if I should have taken. But it's hard when that's something that you've always been told to do, and that was the right step for you to take a step back and say, well, how did the CEO get to their position? If I'm working my way up in a company, I'm working my way up to something. So what is that person that owns the company? What are they thinking? What are they doing? How do I think more like them and less like the person who's trying to continuously get to where they're at? And I think that's one thing when people are trying to step out and make that first leap, they struggle with. They struggle with trying to shift their mindset from employee to CEO. Now, I have a couple things written down in my little black book, as always, right? I think it was a day ago or so, I sent out an email, actually not to the usual group of people that I send the email out to. I actually tried something a little bit different this time. I sent out an email to one of my brands, which is How to Run in Heels. Now, I thought a lot about what the 0 to 100 program was and how I could really effectively reach people. And one of my, biggest target demographics have been women entrepreneurs like me, usually on the younger side because, I'm only 25. And just kind of with that same spirit and that same, I want to say age demographic, but kind of like lifestyle and stage in life. Let's say that, stage in life. And that's totally where my How to Run in Heels ladies live. They're totally in the first steps of entrepreneurship or business ownership or trying to make that first step out in the world. So I sent them an email, right? And I labeled the email, do you have a CEO mindset? And it's so funny because in the email, I tell them about the 0 to 100 program, and I give them the guide because, I want to make sure that my ladies, even though they're kind of a little bit different from who I'm targeting right now, I want to make sure that those ladies have an opportunity to read and see what I'm doing, even on a different shift or a different level. And in that email, towards the end, I put, only 30 to 40% of people who read this email will actually be ready to step into a CEO mindset. And it's so funny because literally, I think it's about 27% right now of people who actually clicked the button of the email that I sent out. And for me, I was like, 30 to 40% sounds right, but I'm no guru. I'm not, a statistics major or anything like that. It's just a number I really just guesstimated and threw out there of how many women that I thought within that network would really resonate with what I was saying, right? Almost spot on. Mind you, this was just yesterday, so usually I get a good reaction to emails in the next 2 and 3 days afterwards. So I'm pretty much going to hit that ballpark of only 30 to 40% that will actually click the button and go to that next level and go to the next step. But it's true. Only a very select people, and even 30 to 40% is a high amount, will actually have that CEO mindset to where they can think about their lives in a different way and from a different aspect than the normal employee ever would. So I think I have about 7, I wrote down a couple notes. I have about 7 different tactics and ways that I was able to get myself into the right mindset to take leaps and steps. And this is almost on a day-to-day basis, not even on a launch basis, just kind of how I live my life, right? So step number 1 is something that's definitely been vital to me and my success, and I can definitely say has changed my life, which is affirmations. I post very frequently on my own social media pages just about affirmations that I'm saying at the moment. When I started off doing affirmations, you say these power sentences and phrases and words of how you want to live your life, and you repeat them back to yourself in the mirror so that you can actually see them to be true in your life, right? When I started off, I kind of did it a little wrong because I was changing my affirmations once a week, right? And I realized, well, if I have the same goals on an ongoing basis, why would I change my affirmations every week? So instead, I tried to make more affirmations, 1, that were more relevant to my life, and 2, I tried to change them only every quarter. So instead of, every week I see a new affirmation, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's totally how I want to live my life. I try to be more targeted and say over and over and over again in the mirror so that I can make that actual shift and change on a more centralized level than me just finding some really great quote and sticking to it, right? Or saying it for that week or for that day, and then the next day I'm on to something new and now my goals have changed. But that's not really how life works. My goals are pretty much the same. They change maybe on a year-to-year basis, but my 5 to 10 year goals are the same. So I need to be working at a more consistent pace to make those happen. And more importantly, I decided to build some of my own affirmations. There's definitely some really great resources out there to find some. For me personally, I love Lewis Hale. She has some really great affirmations on her website, and I use those a lot. She makes them pretty so I can cut them out and do all kinds of things with them. But the most important and influential affirmation that I've been able to stick to since the day that I lost my job was I am just as capable and smart as any CEO I've ever worked for. And it was very important for me to kind of hone home to, because when I was let go from jobs or when I walked away from jobs, I always had in the back of my head, somebody holds power over me when I work for them. And, that always bothered me and it always irked me. And that's the real reason why I decided to start a business. But then I had to dig a little deeper and had to say, well, why do I feel like they hold power over me if I am good at my job and if I can actually produce in what I do? Because I know I'm just as smart as them. I know I'm just as smart as them, and I know I'm just as capable as them. So I had to dig a little bit deep into my story to really pull out that affirmation, right? So I went ahead and did that, and I wrote that down. Now that's the affirmation that I don't think I'll ever stop saying. I think I will forever and always say that affirmation to myself, and it's kind of one that will keep reoccurring. Right now, the affirmations that I also say is a lot about failure, because I'm trying a lot of new things right now, and so I want to make sure that I tell myself every day that I'm okay with failure. I'm all right with it. I'll talk about that a little bit more, but I want to go ahead and hone those through. And lastly, I'm talking a lot about finance right now, making sure that I look at myself in the mirror and say I can be a millionaire, I can be a billionaire, and I will be one day. So definitely want to look into those affirmations to change your mindset. Secondly is visualization. Now, it's funny because I actually talked about this in my video at the beginning of the year, which is about vision boards, right? I have this conversation all the time with people. People think I hate vision boards, and I don't. I just think that they become a glorified arts and crafts project. I really like to use vision boards to see the end goal in mind. And for me, I have one for my entire life. It's pretty much for the year. I could say it's almost like a 2-year goal. But I much rather have visions for the end goals in projects. Like, when I'm done with this project, I will help 50 people. And that's my goal. Like, by the end of the entire 0 to 100 program, which includes not only the workshop but the actual course that I'm putting together, I want to touch and help 50 entrepreneurs get to that launch event stage to where they're really, showing their brand on a major and bigger level, which I definitely think that I can do, right? But you want to understand what your end goal and that last vision is, and you want to optimize it. You want to make sure that it's tangible, and you want to make sure that you can see it in front of yourself, even if you have to make a Pinterest board, or look at your tribe and say, like, this is the vision for my tribe that I have, or pick out certain people who can help you build that vision for you. If you have that ideal client and you know them in person, have them help you build that end vision statement so that you can visualize it and optimize it for the end of your road. Because if you can tackle that first, that will help you so much in keeping your mindset intact. Like, people think you need that to build your business plan, but you really need that to get your mindset right, to be like, okay, who does those 50 entrepreneurs that I'm trying to help, who do they need me to be? What mindset do they need me to be in? Now I have to go ahead and create that, not only for myself, but for them too. Okay, the third one is saying, like, failure, right? I feel like it's that big fat F word, something, again, that I've been dealing with for the past few weeks. I have to get really, really, really comfortable with failure in order to keep my mindset on the right track. And how I've done that is that I map out what would happen if I fail, right? I think it's a huge misconception that people think, okay, me being confident is like, oh, I won't fail. Nothing, it's not going to happen. Like, and people say, you talk in ways like, oh, when I do this, and when instead of if. But for me, I get scared when I don't know what happens if I fail. I feel like I need to sit down and say, okay, if I fail, this is what I will do. If I am not able to put out the 0 to 100 workshop and the date that I want to, I will then expand it and expand my campaign until I am able to reach the people that I want. So when you can kind of see what I did with that statement. Now I've already bounced back from a failure that didn't happen. So I know that if anything goes wrong, if I have to push back the date, if I'm not reaching my target demographic, if X, Y, and Z happens, I've already dealt with that failure, and I know how I can bounce back from it. So if it ever hits me, I can say, okay, that's how I'll do it. My mindset is already set for the failure that I don't even think will happen. It puts you at a strong mental state for if anything goes awry. Because what was the hardest thing for me was, like, people would ask me questions that I didn't know the answers to. Like, okay, let me see if I could give an example. Like, oh, shoot, I can't give one right now, but it's so bad for me. Like, I get such like deer in the headlights and I don't know what to say, kind of like in this moment right now, and it freaks me out. And then I'll go home and be like, oh my gosh, everything's gonna fail and I don't know what I'm gonna do. But when you have already answered those questions in your head, or even better if you write them down, like, okay, if X date doesn't work, I'm gonna go to X date. If this campaign doesn't work, I'm gonna look at my stats and go back to this state. Then it's like you're always a step ahead of what comes next. And that helps strengthen your mindset so much, because people's questions, people's doubts, people's negativity won't allow you to knock you off your feet, because you already have that plan in place just in case things don't go how you plan, right? And that's another thing with mindset, wrapping your head around knowing that things will not always go as you plan. That's the one thing that's pretty much certain in life, is what change and like uncertainty. So yeah, what happens if you fail? Okay. I think we're on number 4, right? Find cheerleaders for your brand. That has to be the biggest thing. And I mean, I guess we're talking about mindset, so even if you haven't taken that first step, you just need cheerleaders in your corner, period. It's so important. People can say that's your tribe or whatever, but just maybe even before you've developed the tribe, maybe just find out where people like you hang out. I know here in Orlando, we have like the National Entrepreneur Center. Sometimes just knowing that's there, even if I don't go to it, it's just such a great reassurance that there's people out there like me, so many, that they built a center to support us, right? Oh, hi Helen, thank you. She's my biggest fan. I love her. But yes, and talk about cheerleaders, that's my cheerleader right there. She's totally awesome. But yeah, you just need to find those people who can be in your corner and totally root for you, so that when you're feeling down, you can kind of go to them, or go to that safe space and kind of live there a little bit, you know, ask questions, deal with whatever it is that you're going through. Oh, hi Mike. He's sending me lots of love too. Those are my 2 favorite cheerleaders right there. My besties. But yeah, you just want to find those people, kind of target them, pull them out within your circles, or sometimes it's important to go outside of your circle. Speaking of Mike and Helen, I met them right at the beginning of when I was starting my business, and I met them because I went to networking events both times, and I really had to throw myself outside of my circle to be like, okay, where are the people that are 10 steps ahead of me, and how can I find them, and how can I find out where they hang out and what they do, and yeah, I just need to be where they're at. So really find those cheerleaders, because I don't know if everybody ever has read My Deepest Fear, but you know, they say when you let your own light shine, you unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. That's how it is when you align yourself with amazing people. Sometimes they unconsciously give you permission to do the same in your own life. Yeah, so that's all I'll preach about that, right? Get clear. This is something that's really hard for me, because I am multi-passionate, right? I have 20 million things that I want to do. I mean, I even talk at 20 miles per hour on a normal day. So sometimes it's really hard for me to get clear about what I want to do, who I want to serve, and what I want the outcomes to be. But most of these things that I've listed out so far are the steps to how I get there. For me, I've had to get really good at writing things down. I mean, I even designed an entire notebook so I would have a place to write everything down and get steps out. For instance, I'm my own best case study, if I could say that, you know. For the past few days, I've had so much going on, a little bit because I slacked off. For the past few days, like I had sisters, my family's birthdays are all in the month of May, every single last one except for me. So I've just been kind of in a whirlwind of personal things that I had to get done. But in order for me to get my mindset back to work, and to get my mindset back set on my goals and where I wanted to be, because I already had to take a step back in the program and where I was going, I had to start writing things down again. I had to start writing to-do lists again. Like this to-do lists, crazy notes, and all kinds of stuff. I had to get back to that. I had to get back to the basics and really get to getting clear on what I wanted to accomplish. And I was focused on that number again, 50. My number is 50. I want to affect 50 people with my program. That's it, plain blank period. I'm halfway there. Touching people with the program. I want to be able to turn those people into the end goal and the vision that I want to see. Of course, I have to have them get on board with me, but I just had to be very clear and get back to where I want to go. So 50 is the number. 50 is the goal. My goal is to do it by, well, not by June 17th, but to start and put a good footprint in it by June 17th. But if it doesn't happen then, it's going to happen in August. It's going to happen in September. It's going to happen X, Y, and Z, because I wrote down 50, and 50 is what it's going to be. So get clear on where you are going and where you want to be. Number 6 is really, really important to me because, like I said, my mind is all over the place a lot of times. I have to really get honed in on my goals, and I had to find one thing that was my mindset aligner. For some people, that could be working out. For some people, that could be I don't like to say going out as like a mindset aligner, because some people say, oh, I hang out with my friends or whatever, and that's a mindset aligner. But to me, I feel like it has to be a little bit more strategic than that. But you need that one activity, that one thing that really gets your mindset back on track. For me, that's cooking. I absolutely love to cook. In fact, about me is I went to culinary school. I got my associates in culinary, and then I kind of went to left field. I did a degree in food service management, and then I took my minor in sales and events, and that's how I ended up where I'm at. But cooking relaxes me. What cooking does for me, and this explanation can probably help you find. Oh, thank you, Carmel. She loves my cooking. I remember I told you that my mind works all over the place. It helps me align my goals, and I know it sounds weird, but because when I cook, I follow steps, right? I think about it in my head. I'm like, I want to make meatballs, right? So that's like the last big meal that I made for me and my sister and all our friends or whatever. I made meatballs and spaghetti, right? I knew I wanted to make the meatballs. I knew I wanted to make the meatballs from scratch. I knew I wanted to do the sauce. I knew I needed to boil the pasta. And I knew what time frame I wanted to be in, because I knew everybody would be there at 8:30, right? So if you think about it, I kind of followed all the steps. Step number 1, affirmation. I sent out an invite. Hey guys, I'm going to make meatballs. Now I've held myself accountable. I've made the affirmation. I'm going to make the meatballs. Done, right? I visualized the end goal, right? Because I knew I wanted to make everything from scratch. I knew how I wanted it to look. I knew how I wanted it to taste, because I was already hungry when I started, right? I found my cheerleaders, which were the people I invited. They were all excited, started texting me, hitting me up like, hey, I see you on Snapchat. You put the meatballs in the pan, XYZ, right? And then I got clear on my vision. I started going through step by step. I started, I defrosted the meat, of course. I started to season it. I chopped up the onions. I pan-seared the meatballs. I put them in the sauce. Well, I started the sauce, put them in the sauce, spaghetti, everything, right? So that had me going from step. And that is my mindset aligner. Cooking is that one thing that when I'm feeling stressed out, when I'm feeling like nothing is working the way I want it to work, and like my mindset is just all screwed up about, hey Emerson, when I feel like my mindset is all screwed up about where I'm going or where I want to be, I take a step back and I cook. It's literally the same exact steps to how I would approach a situation or a problem in my business, but it's a whole different end goal. It's a whole different environment, because it's a social activity that I'm doing at that point, but it takes me through the same steps. By the time I'm done cooking that meal, I've taken a couple hours off. Then I had a glass of red wine at the end of my meal, right? I feel a little bit better, and it allows me to take a step back from whatever struggles I am going through within my business and realign my mindset. And it's subliminal, yes, but it's so helpful. And if you don't have anything as an entrepreneur that can realign your mindset, you need to get that for some people, oh, there's another example, painting, right? You set out, you have the vision of where you want your painting to be. You set out all of your not utensils, but I'm thinking like food still. I'm thinking like ingredients and utensils, but you know what I mean. Everything that you need to go ahead and make your final painting. Maybe you tell somebody, or you say, hey, it's a gift. It's a gift. So now you found your cheerleader, you've made your affirmation, I'm going to make you a painting and it's going to be beautiful. Now you've taken your exact process that you already know you know how to do, but you're putting in a mindset of something that you love to do, and that's like foolproof. That's not something you have to think about. And it will realign your goals, and it'll give you a chance to step back and realign your mindset really on something different, so that you can retarget wherever your goals are in a business and professional way. And if you haven't already taken your first step on whatever it is that you want to do, let's say you're trying to get your mindset to take step number 1, think about something leisurely that you do to bring yourself joy, and break it down the way that I just did. Apply it, and then restructure it to how you could do those same things in your business. Because you have to start thinking about business as riding a bike. It was hard when you first started. You fell off of it. It was terrible. You took steps A from B. You had your cheerleaders, you had your affirmation, you had everything. But at the end of the day, it was not impossible to you. And the only way that you will get your mindset right to do things and take the first steps that you need to take is that you stop thinking of it as an employee, as it's impossible, as you have a glass ceiling on yourself, but more so as I can be a CEO. I'm just as smart as I'm just as capable as it's within my grasp. And that's how you will effectively keep taking the first steps, even if it's getting out of bed in the morning, if it's writing that blog that you've been putting off for X, Y, and Z, if it's putting something on social media, whatever it is, think about the process. Think about it like riding a bike. It's doable. It's more than doable. Being a CEO is more than doable. There's so many people that are on my Facebook pages. I know it's a little bit different. If your Facebook algorithm is not sending you 20 million ads about how to grow and do your business, you're doing Facebook wrong. Because trust me, that's all I see. I opt into 20 million things a day because they get those many notifications. But my point is, damn, I lost my point. But each of those people had to step out. Each of those people had to make that leap. And you see them, they're like, oh, I made 6 figures in 6 months, X, Y, and Z. If there's 10 of them on there, on your timeline alone, meaning that Facebook, they only targeted those 10 people to you and your algorithm in a day. Imagine how many other people there are out in the world that are starting businesses, that are doing things that you're not even in their demographic, and they've made it happen. So if they have, what makes them better than you? Absolutely nothing. And last thing is getting in tune. You really have to get in tune with yourself as an entrepreneur. And the one thing that people didn't tell me or didn't outline for me that was really a shock when I became an entrepreneur, and it sounds almost simple stupid when I say it out loud, is that you're in this alone. My phone is dying, so I gotta wrap this up. You are in this entrepreneurial game most of the time alone, unless you have like some type of business partner or whatever. But when you become an entrepreneur, you lose that CEO person who's over you telling, hey, you have to wake up early in the morning. Hey, you have to do this. Hey, these are your tasks for your day, and this is how you'll be productive. And there's no employee handbook. There's no employee evaluations telling you when you're screwing up. There's nobody to write you up if you don't do anything right. So you really have to get in tune with yourself as an entrepreneur to really self-motivate and align yourself with your goals and with that mindset. So get in tune. I can't preach meditation because I tried it 20 million times and have failed, but I still will keep trying to make it happen. But if it's meditation that you have to do, if it's self-evaluation, if you have to just sit by yourself, for me, when I am not feeling great, I sit and I listen to motivational talks. I read a lot. I have ADD with reading, so I read a lot of blogs and different things. But you need to get in tune with yourself. You need to figure out what makes you tick and why, so that you can keep producing that on a mass level, right? So like I said, my phone's on 10%. I wish I could keep talking about getting in tune with yourself, but I can't. But I do want to thank everybody who has already downloaded the 0 to 100 program, and the 0 to 100 guide. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate your feedback so far. I've gotten such great feedback, but I want more. I want more feedback. I want you guys to tell me what you think. Tell me how I can improve. Tell me if it helped you. Tell me if it didn't help you. I just want to know. I've had a good chunk of people go ahead and sign up for that and everything, so I'm excited. What I want to do is like my free gift to anybody who's already reached out to me and who has already downloaded the 0 to 100 guide. I want you to sign up for a free mini session for the 0 to 100 program. What that looks like is it ranges from about 30 to 60 minutes, just kind of depending on what your schedule is like. I'll give you up to 60 minutes of a mini session. But if you have already downloaded the 0 to 100 guide, I want to offer you a free consultation, a free mini session on the program, so we can go through step by step and analyze how you can better achieve each step of the 0 to 100 guide. There's about 12 steps altogether, but there's really 3 modules, and the largest one being the mindset that we're talking about today. Also, please tune in on Thursday with me and Kristen from Anchor and Odyssey talking about the brand recipe. We'll be going live from the Running in Heels happy hour on Thursday. If you have any questions about that, please send me a message. And we will also be giving away something very special to my How to Run in Heels ladies, because those are the best, most fiercest entrepreneurs that I have ever met within that network. So being that they've reached out to me a lot about the 0 to 100 program, I'm giving them something really special on Thursday at the happy hour. So if you can come, please come. If not, go ahead and like my How to Run in Heels page, because I'll go ahead and shout out that freebie on Thursday at that event, because events are totally my thing. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I totally appreciate it. Yes, 0 to 100 guide. I'll go ahead and drop the link in the comments after I am done. And thank you for supporting. Have a good day.